Hey guys, welcome. So I'm starting this channel and it's going to be called the Crypto Guide. So I'm Rick and I've been in crypto now for about 3 years and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here to guide and help, and maybe people that I know or friends, someone maybe you know that wants to know a little bit more about crypto. So I'm going to be talking about the basics and the concept because this is something you need to know. If you're interested in crypto, you need to know why, what for, and what should I do. Kind of that's what I want to talk about today. I think the first thing we're going to talk a little bit about is why was crypto, why was Bitcoin, the original creator of crypto, why was Bitcoin brought out? So there was a guy or person or a group of people, Satoshi Nakamoto, in 2009 released a paper and a thing called Bitcoin. He created the concept of Bitcoin. So why did he do this? Well, he did this in response to a 2008 market crash. I'm creating this YouTube information. Why? Because this is about you and me. This is about the average person. I'm not rich. I've been studying this. I've made some money. I've lost some money. So I'm going to tell you about what to do, what not to do. I'm going to talk about things that I hope will help you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So in 2008, there was a major market crash, right? There was the housing market bubble here in the U.S., and people lost millions and millions of dollars were lost. It was all because of fraud. It was because of scams. It was all illegal, and nobody went to jail hardly. Nobody was. So if there's a movie, you can watch it on. It's a great show to kind of get your head wrapped around. But what was that all about? Well, it was about people who took people's money and they misused it. They wasted it. They did all sorts of things with it. Bitcoin came out of that as a response to fraud and manipulation and also inflation and all these things. So why did that happen? Well, Bitcoin, and it's called a Bitcoin or a byte of information, and it's digital. It's a digital form of information. It's a digital currency. Well, you might say, well, I already have that kind of. I mean, my money goes into a bank. I see it online. I pay my bills. It's digital, and that's true. The problem is that your money, every time it does something, there's a time period where digital currency is very quick, can be within seconds. The other thing is that your money, when you get paid, goes into a bank. Now, if the bank goes insolvent, you can lose it all. Well, Bitcoin is not centralized. It's not in a bank account. It's a release. It's a concept. It's a reality of digital currency all over the world. People use it as an example like gold. So gold can be found, made all over the world, but no one owns gold. And that's like Bitcoin. And that's sometimes why they call it the digital gold. It's more like a commodity it's kind of like a commodity in that sense. Well, it's digital by nature. So if you're going to hear the word, and in the crypto world, you're going to hear all sorts of words and things that just don't make sense. And you're going to say, why am I doing this? Well, I'm telling you why you need to do this. Because you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your own finances. And you need to take responsibility. We're in a day and age that corruption is so big and so common, and nobody seems to get charged. Why? Because usually the people that are involved seem to not really, they find these people on such a scale that is like, to you and me, it's like getting a parking ticket at $20 or something. It's like, well, whatever, I'll pay the 20, I don't care. We see this in the stock market all the time. So for example, there's a situation in the stock market right now, and it's called dark pools. And so what it is, it's a trading after hours with a group of people who no one else can get to do, and you don't get to see how much it's sold for and when it's done. It's like the group of people saying, well, let's just you and I trade together, and the public stock market, they don't need to see what we're doing. We're just going to keep it all to ourselves. Why? So they can make money and do whatever they want. This is a season where we need to start taking control of our spending, our buying, our growing our financials. And that's what this is all about. Bitcoin was created to do that. Now, when we use the word, if you look online, you're going to hear the word fiat. What does that mean? Well, that's like a US dollar or a UK dollar or an Australian dollar. That's a value related to a government, okay, or a government currency. So Bitcoin is not a fiat. However, I could take some Bitcoin that I have, I could transfer it into my bank, and I could spend it like a fiat dollar or like a regular dollar online or physically. So that's one thing about it. It can do that also. But Bitcoin was created in 2009, and there was 21 million of them made. There's not going to be more made. So, when the feds decide to print more money to try to boost the thing, we have a thing called inflation, and all of a sudden what you can buy starts to drop. Bitcoin was designed to not be inflated. In fact, quite the contrary. The more people that start using it, the more scarce it is, the more value goes up. And we're in a very important stage of that right now, because even this week, we have massive institutions that are jumping in to buy Bitcoin and sell it. It's called a Bitcoin ETF. I'll talk more about that another time. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in most cases are all decentralized. Nobody owns it. Sometimes it's as you buy maybe a cryptocurrency, you actually get to have a voice, and you get to vote, and you get to make decisions on things. So it's decentralized. Not all of them, but most of them are. But Bitcoin is definitely decentralized. Nobody's in charge of it. Nobody can run it up or waste it or do it. You might have companies that might do that, but not the concept of Bitcoin itself doesn't happen. Also, this is a blockchain technology, a ledger. So some of you might be old enough to remember, or maybe you've seen it, when a transaction would be made, it would be made in a ledger, which was usually a paper ledger, and you'd write it down, and the book was always sealed pages, numbered, and if someone tore a page out, well, you'd know that it's removed. So it was to try to prevent that sort of thing, that everything that was done could be tracked. Well, this is done in a blockchain technology. So every time a transaction is done, there's a collection of data. So what happens is, this is a secure system designed that one transaction, there's people, and this is called a trustless system, not trust system. It's like you don't trust people. So it's designed for people who, like, if somebody said to you, hey, come over here in the back alley, I got something to sell you. He would be saying, trust me, right? Now, a trustless system would be say, hey, I'm going to do this in front of everybody, because this is observed. Every transaction goes through a process of several computers who observe the transaction, and then it's thrown into an algorithm that's secure, that it cannot be changed. It becomes a block of technology in a very secure system that, if I think the number on it is 1.15679 times 10 to the 77 power chance of figuring out, because it's been coded, what this was. What is this? So it becomes a secure system locked in, and it becomes a block of chain, and it becomes a continuation. You can't break it. It's like continual. It's like that book. Every page upon every page, and every piece of data was collected. So it's a blockchain technology. So it's very secure. Why? Again, 2008, there was nothing secure. Everything was wasted. There was money. The other thing is this: it can be viewed publicly. It's like your bank account is out there, and they can see this number bought or sold something. In fact, when I go to do my taxes or something, I can punch in my account number, and everything can be brought up, bought or sold, and see how much I've made or lost or whatever, for tax purposes. So it's an open system, trustless, which is what? Well, it tries to stop fraud and money laundering and all this. So really, the pressure on this right now is kind of crazy, because they're trying to discredit this system. And yet, since 2009, nobody's been able to crack Bitcoin specifically. Now, there's been corruption, absolutely. People are people. People get involved. Maybe they, FTX, for example, Sam Bankman-Fried, he took a lot of money. Again, the system wasn't broken, the people. But the people that have it in a proper system and backed up, it's safe, it's secure. What else do I want to talk about? Well, once that transaction is made in that blockchain technology, you can't go back and change it. So wherever you send it, make sure it's to the right place. It's really important. It's based on every time a transaction is made, you don't need someone in between you and that person, which means the banks don't have to get involved, which means if I send money, for example, I sent some crypto to the Netherlands, and it was there within a minute or two. Most of the times, if you send internationally, it can take 3 to 5 business days and about $35 fee because there's a middleman. This doesn't need a middleman. It's a transaction through the internet, and it's safe and secure. Well, I don't want to talk too long. I like to keep this around under 12 minutes. The next thing I just want to share is that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is a realty. It's done by the average person. Okay? It's done by you and me. If you're going to want to get into this, you need to do your own research. You need to follow and find and research stuff. It's like, say you want to go buy a new car. While you do all the research online, this is even more important because you want to know and make good decisions. Now, to conclude in this, I'm not a financial advisor, so please take everything I say as research, educational, or entertainment. I'm not here to advise you what you need to buy or sell. I'm here to talk about, as a guide, walking down a trail. Look at this and look at that. Oh, look over here. I remember a story connected to this. That's all I want to do, is I want to be a help to you to follow along. And so on this page, I think you're just going to have to come and say, do I want to learn or do I want this to pass? Well, one last thing. We're in a time process right now. And so cryptocurrency, I got in 2020, and it spiked up in 2021, and then it fell real low. And it looks like there's a possibility where what's called a bear market, which is everybody selling, and a bull market is when everyone's buying. It looks like we're about to step out of a long, over a year bear market and step into a market where it's going to become more valuable. So this timely right now to jump in. All right, that's all I'm going to say today. Thank you for joining me. I'm Rick, and this is called The Crypto Guide. Take care. Bye-bye.